What is going on, guys? This is the match preview for Manchester United versus Fulham tomorrow at 6 p.m. Thick and fast fixtures coming up. We've got the game tomorrow, obviously. We've got Wolves on the 23rd and then the Europa League final on the 26th. So thick and fast, as I said, with games coming up. We have to be careful with who we're playing in the rotation of it. Bit of a boost. Anthony Martial and Dan James could be very likely to play in the Fulham game or get some minutes. If they are fit enough, I would start them, simply because Fulham are already relegated. The standard that they're at is not the required standard of the league. Obviously, that's why they've been relegated. But football's crazy, and we know that any result can happen at any time. But because of the team and squad we have, we should be beating Fulham, even with our second-tier squad, in my opinion. So I would make a lot of changes in mind for the Wolves game coming up and then the Europa League final. So my lineup for it, I would go with Fulham for tomorrow. I would go with David De Gea back in the sticks. I would give Brandon Williams a start at right back. I would give Eric Bailly and Twanzebe the two centre-back pairing. Telles would be my left back. Now, that's a lot of changes in the back four and the goalkeeper. And that doesn't always work, and it's very dodgy and risky to do that. But I would do it because we have to rotate the squad and have faith in our other players, our bench players or reserve players or whatever it is, because that's what having a squad is all about. And I don't think Ollie does that enough. And I do think that he needs to be a little bit more braver in that sense going forward. And the fact that they are relegated, obviously Fulham, we should be beating them even with these types of players that aren't starting for us. So I would rotate it a lot. So that would be my back four. Two defensive midfield roles, I would go with Matic and Fred, but we should be playing one defensive midfielder. But Ollie doesn't trust the back four, so he has it as a security blanket, but we really should be playing with one. But I would go with Matic and Fred. I think Fred's been better than McTominay recently, and I'm not Fred's biggest fan, but I do think Matic is the best out of all the actual midfielders we've got, especially defensive midfielding. So Matic and Fred would be my pairing. And then on the right, I would go with Diallo, give him a start. I would go with Mata in Bruno's position at number 10. And I'd give Dan James on the left a start if he's fit enough. And then up top, I would go with Anthony Martial, the same as Dan James. If they're fit enough, James and Martial have to start for me, just to give other players a rest. On the bench, I would go with Henderson, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw, McTominay and Donny van de Beek, and then I'd have Cavani and Pogba. Notice I have no Bruno and I have no Rashford, because those two specifically need a rest more than most players in our squad because they've played so much of the year. And I haven't actually got Lindelof on the bench. I would risk it because I think you can even play McTominay at centre-back. He does it for Scotland. Obviously, it's a different setup for them, but do you know what I mean? People can play there. Matic can even drop in at centre-back, and you could take Twanzebe or Bailly off if one of them get injured, drop Matic into one of their positions and then bring on McTominay or Donny. So there's ways around it, even with Lindelof if he isn't even on the bench. But look, I know that Ollie ain't going to make all these changes, but I do think that it's needed, especially with the games coming up and that Europa League final in mind as well. So Wolves should be a tougher test for us as well after the Fulham game. So that's also why I would rotate, because you need to rest the likes of Rashford, in my opinion, even Pogba and Cavani and Bruno. Bruno and Rashford more than anything, though, need the rest. But I don't think that Ollie will do that. I think he will probably start them and then bring them off half-time or something. But why? I haven't even got them on the bench. Take them out of this game completely and bring them back for Wolves if you have to. But I wouldn't play them for this game because you're just risking it there's no need to do that. So that would be my lineup. Prediction for tomorrow, I was going to go with an extreme like 3 or 4-0 before, but considering I've made so many changes, I would go with 2-0, even with all the changes I've made. Perhaps that's naive, especially with a clean sheet again, but rotation is key for this game more than ever again. Like he did recently, I think he needs to do that again, but even more so. I think Diallo needs more minutes. Brandon Williams definitely needs more minutes this season. Telles has not been great, I admit that, but Shaw needs the rest as well. So I don't want him picking up an injury and missing the final. Like, Shaw is vital, so have to be very careful what we're doing with Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So I would rest them and bring in some of the other players, as I said. But 2-0 prediction for tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, guys, with a confirmed lineup, and then after the post-match recap and the player ratings. but we should be winning that game tomorrow, even with our second-rate team. So we've got to get the 3 points tomorrow. So a draw is going to be embarrassing, and a loss, I don't even know what I'm going to say if it's a loss. So 2-0 for tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, guys.